Hello guys, and welcome to another video on my channel. And I'm finally back, but sadly not for long, since I'm going to be busier than usual for the next few months. Nonetheless, today I'll be unboxing and reviewing Eduard BF109f-4 Tropical in 1/48 scale, and I'll be making as Joachim Marseille's aircraft. The tooling for this kit is from 2023, so the details are really nice and the fit is amazing. But before starting with the unboxing, I want to thank my friend Kaustav, I hope I said that right, for getting me this kit since I couldn't get it back here in Serbia when it was released last year. Now, let me get all of these 5 plastic sprues out of the box, as well as the instructions and decals. Let's start with the clear sprue. Let me just get it out of the bag. Okay, so here we have 6 clear parts, 3 canopy parts, a gun sight, a light, and this L-shaped part that is used for the cockpit. As you can see, the details are very nice. The only thing is that they are quite tricky to mask, so I'd recommend getting some custom masks so you don't have to make them yourselves, like I did and I failed at doing so. Now, let's just put this clear sprue away and continue. Oops, sorry about that. Okay, so here's the next bag. It contains 2 plastic sprues, one contains the fuelsage halves and the other parts for the wings, tail and gun bay covers. The details are amazing. You can see every rivet, all the separate panel lines. Aside from that, the quality of plastic is fairly good. The only issue is that it is a tiny bit greasy, so I'd recommend you washing it before assembly so you don't have issues painting it. And I'd also recommend multiple thin layers of paint or some primer, because this plastic is fairly dark, so light colors can be a bit hard to apply. Now, back to talking about parts, let's take a look at the cockpit walls. The details are nice, and you can see there are spaces for more separate parts that will make the cockpit walls even more detailed. Let me just put this sprue away and take a look at the wings. Same as before, great quality, lots of detail. Also, the connections to the sprue are in places that are easy to sand down, so huge props to that. I usually worked with some older kits and they have some awkwardly placed connections, so it can be hard trying to sand those parts out. So finally, I won't have those issues. Now, let's move on to the next bag. Here in the next and last bag, we have 2 sets of sprues. It appears there are many parts, and there are indeed many, but a huge portion of them isn't used in the kit actually. Oh, and the prop cover fell off the sprue. But it looks pretty nice, to be honest, so no issues with that. Now let's take a look at the actual sprue. Here we have the middle part of the cockpit as well as the instrument panel. The details are amazing, lovely stuff. Here are also landing gear legs, multiple props for some reason. And a bomb holder, I guess. More cockpit parts and wheel parts, pedals, landing gear legs, some more tiny cockpit parts, and more parts for the wheel bay. Then we have some drop tanks, various other bits and pieces, and tires. And now onto the last screw. Here are the engine covers, flaps, exhausts, more flaps, another drop tank, and many other various bits and pieces with lovely details on them. And that's it for the parts. Let's take a look at the decals. There are two sheets, one with decals and another with stencils. Now, after very gently opening the bag, here they are. There is a good amount of decals, the print is great and colors are lovely, and those used by the same aircraft are close to each other. Now onto the stencils. There are lots of them, so you can really go all out or just place a few if you want. It's up to you, but I'll be sure to nicely decorate my model with them when the time for it comes. So after the decals, let's take a look at the instructions. And here they are. I like how the paper is all shiny, it feels high quality and it is also in color, so that's a nice change. On the front page is a not so short history about BF109s, so that is nice. But let's take a look at the instructions themselves. Okay, so here on the left we have what parts are in the kit we will actually use, as well as a really detailed list of paints. It is really practical. Now on the right, here we have multiple steps for assembling the cockpit. Quite a few parts are to be added in it. On the next page there are more steps for completing the cockpit, some optional decals for the cockpit, and on the bottom here we can see the final assembly of the cockpit as well as the assembly of the fuelsage halves. Now on the right here there are some steps for adding some more bits and pieces. And a pretty detailed assembly of the tail and back wings. On the next page, on the left, there is an assembly of the wheelbase as well as wings. And on the right, it shows how to add the fuelsage onto the wings and many flaps to before mentioned wings. We turn the page once again, and on the left there are some radiator assemblies as well as an engine cover assembly and a small diagram of an assembled aircraft. Now on the right there are instructions about how to fix the flaps and what is the proper angle for them, as well as the landing gear assemblies. And now Finally, we have arrived at the last page of the instructions. Here we can see how to assemble the canopy, add some decals and assemble the prop. On the right side there are instructions on decal placements and painting. I'll be making this one, Hans Joachim Marseille's BF109, but the other color options are also very nice. I'll show you all of them. And that's it for the instructions. Here's an ad for some Eduard resin and 3D etched parts. They seem nice to be honest, but nonetheless, let's start with the build finally. Before I start with the assembly itself, as always, be sure to clean your parts, especially if they are greasy, in lukewarm soapy water. I know that I'm always saying that, but it will help you with the paint sticking to your models, especially if you are brush painting some parts. Now, after that, let them dry or wipe the water off of them if you are impatient, but be careful to not get particles of dust and other stuff onto the plastic. Now, no more of me talking, let's start with the assembly and I'll come back periodically to let you know if there is something to know. And I'm back. I assembled as much as I could before painting, and I must say the fit is amazing. You'll have no issues and the details are pretty nice. I mean, take a look for yourselves. Here's how the cockpit walls, wings and the prop look assembled. I masked some parts already for the cockpit, as now I'll go and airbrush it, and after that I'll hand paint some details. I'll be using a mix of RLM02 Grey and Tamiya Flat Black for the cockpit color. Now, let's go do some airbrushing. And here I am after airbrushing the insides of the cockpit. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. To me, it looks pretty nice. Now, before assembling the cockpit together, I'll do some dry brushing using Tamiya Flat Fade and touching up some other various tiny parts. Here's the cockpit all finished. Looks alright to me. I really tried my best to make it look nice, especially since there are so many details in it. Now, let's continue the assembly. Now, one thing to note is, be sure to get something to hold the fuelsage parts together, so they mend together under the cement properly, since if you don't press them, there'll be visible holes. Now, let's continue with the time lapse for real. Here's what I assembled so far. It has been really fun and easy to do. I had no issues. Now I'll go and airbrush some parts with RLM02 Gray, following the coloring callouts on the instructions, and continue the assembly. Here's the progress so far. I just had to note, be careful with these flaps, they are fiddly, very easy to confuse and mess which are which. Here's the progress so far after completing some assembly. Now I'll go and airbrush the underside after having painted the ends white. See ya in a bit. And here it is. To be honest, it isn't that visible because the color of the plastic is similar to the color of the underside, but I assure you it has been painted. Now I'll remove some of these masks and mask the plane again so I can airbrush the main color onto it. I like how shiny it looks. Okay, no more messing around, let's continue. After having spent way too much time on masking the plane and canopy, here is how it looks. I'm pleased with it, to be honest, though I could have done a better job on the canopy if I had some proper custom masks. Now I'll go and brush paint some tiny bits and pieces. And here it is, after brush painting and putting on a flat coat, so it is ready for the decals. Okay, so the decals can actually wait. So aside from the canopy, I saw that I messed up this yellow line that is on the engine cover, so let me redo it real quick. 30 minutes later and I'm back. I fixed it up now and I put on some more flat coat on the whole model, so it should be ready for the decals, hopefully this time. I'm still a bit salty about the canopy, but it is what it is, I guess now. Let's go put on some decals. As always, I'll be using these products while applying decals. BF109f-4 trop in 1/48 scale from Eduard. This was quite a rocky experience. I had some issues painting it and later putting on the decals, but that's my fault, not the kids. Overall, I'm satisfied to a degree. I could have done a better job, but I won't complain too much. To not repeat my mistake, try to get some custom masks for the canopy so you don't mess it up. Overall, this is a great kit, the fit is superb. I had some issues with the decals, but it is what it is, and overall it will make for a good model easily. So, what do you think? How did I do? Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and let me know down in the comments. I'll see you guys in the next video that hopefully won't be in a too distant future. Now, I'll leave you to enjoy some footage of the completed model. Until then, take care and cheers!